This is the world 5 years after the global pandemic that changed our lives forever.
After the darkest of struggles, we never went back to being the same. But we came out stronger, understanding that our strength was not in our leaders, but in the unity of people who worked together alongside them to change the world for good.
You see, there were many things that were wrong with the world as it was before, but it took a terrible crisis for us to open our eyes.
And from all the broken outcomes of how today could have looked, we managed to overcome fear and transform darkness into a better world, a better version of ourselves.
Our heroes this time were not political leaders or corporate CEOs. Our heroes were doctors and health practitioners who risked their lives every day to support those in need.
They were the delivery force that went out to the streets to bring us food so we could stay home.
They were the teachers and educators who swiftly adapted learning techniques, those who created the technologies to empower them, and the parents who provided routine, structure, and a safe home. They were the farmers who continued growing, reshaping supply chains to provide food for us. They were the media, the influencers who did not impose their truth, but instead chose to trust society to think for themselves. This is the world we created together.
A world that closed the social and economic gap in a time when that same gap could have been dramatically expanded. By rethinking capital structures and financial systems, we started to find solutions for a fairer world. Our past economic system based on cyclical consumption and continuous growth forced people to compulsively consume in order for money to circulate. We finally learned this lesson, and that what we measure informs what we do. We ultimately distinguished endless growth from inclusive growth, and that the economic indicators to analyze were not only gross domestic product and inflation, but well-being, access to education, and poverty levels were essential too.
We learned to distinguish money from wealth and the many things we were consuming that we didn't actually need.
We finally understood the rippling impact of manufacturing and production processes. We reinvented supply chains, globally connecting industries, and holistically committed to environmental, social, and governance standards. Sustainability became a norm within households, small businesses, corporations, and industries. We were slowly destroying the planet we inhabited, failing to see the interconnected effects of our daily actions on the environment. Through global cooperation and collective voices, we transformed universal habits to rebuild and preserve ecosystems for generations to come.
We adopted better practices for harvesting and producing food. No longer were margins more important than environmental impact or human health. We finally understood the importance of wellness, nutrition, and earth-functional foods. By empowering small agricultural entrepreneurs, expanding rural broadband, and digitizing logistics, we managed to restructure our food systems and stabilize our planet's future outlook.
When the media censored content in despair, we recognized the importance of freedom of speech. Companies were reminded of their commitment to society and taught people to listen for the truth.
In a moment where our differences could have torn us apart, we chose to celebrate diversity and inclusion. Gender, race, political view, sexual orientation, and religion were no longer barriers. We valued the weirdness in each individual and the importance for everyone to find their inner voice. We started seeing the importance of art and creativity, the beauty in simple things, the different measures of wealth, and the power of the human mind.
This is the world that the new leaders of today shaped, those that graduated into the darkness of the pandemic, and in an hour of despair found opportunity in chaos. Leaders who chose to adapt, who chose us instead of me, who made a better world possible through collective action as a global family, and who trusted humanity's true potential.